Hi, my name is George Woodbury, and I'm from College of the Sequoias, a two-year public community college in Visalia, California. And my topic today are what are three ways that I can help my students develop a growth mindset, a topic that's really near and dear to my heart. So, why is this important? In today's environment of co-requisite support courses and acceleration, we're worried about the skills that our students come to our math classes with. But what we really need to be conscious of is the fact that they haven't picked up as many student skills, study skills as we would like them to have. And one of the most important skills for students to develop is possessing a growth mindset. So let's talk a little bit about what a growth mindset is. Let's begin with two books that I think are required reading when you want to learn about mindset. The first is by Carol Dweck. It's called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. Carol Dweck is from Stanford University, and she really came up with this idea of growth and fixed mindsets. And if there's one book I was going to read, this would be the one to add to your summer reading list. Also, I'd recommend this book by Jo Boaler called Mathematical Mindsets. She discusses mindsets as it relates to teaching mathematics to students. I have links to these books as well as to the other resources that I will be mentioning. To access these, you can go to my website, georgewoodbury.com, and on the left-hand side, click on Mindsets in the left side menu. I have links to other talks that I've done if you want to learn more about mindsets in general, plus all the materials that I'm going to be mentioning throughout this recording. You can access them there. So let's begin with the definition. Mindsets are beliefs. They're beliefs about yourself and your most basic qualities, like intelligence, talents, and personality. And the question is, are these fixed traits or can you grow them over time? In the fixed mindset, people believe that their intelligence and abilities are fixed traits. You can either do math or not. You're a math person or not. They also believe that talent alone creates success without effort. People in this mindset worry about their traits and how adequate they are. They have something to prove to themselves and others. People that believe their intelligence and abilities can be developed through hard work have a growth mindset. They believe that intelligence is like a muscle, it can grow. Intelligence and talent are a starting point. This mindset shows a love of learning and resilience, and research has shown that there's a relationship between a student's mindset and their achievement. Mindset impacts motivation, academic behaviors, and responses to challenges or setbacks. Let's take a moment and compare the two mindsets in a few areas, beginning with goals. In the fixed mindset, students are concerned how they will be judged. They want to look smart at all costs. That's the goal. But with the growth mindset, they're concerned more with improving. The goal is learning and to do whatever it takes to do that. Next, failure. For the fixed mindset, failure is a setback. Smart people should always succeed. And the sad part is that this failure is transformed from an action, I failed, to an identity, I'm a failure. In the growth mindset, the only failure is about not growing. There's a saying that goes with the growth mindset: becoming is better than being. Finally, let's talk about effort. In the fixed mindset, effort is a bad thing. It means that you're not a natural, and it's better to not even try. It's better to not try and fail because you didn't try than to fail because you weren't good enough. In the growth mindset, we know that effort is what makes you smart and talented, and you need to do whatever it takes. My first tip involves having your students watch videos about growth mindsets. So you can have your students watch a mindset video. A good one would be Carol Dweck's TED Talk, or you could choose Jo Boaler's TED Talk, or one of a series of mindset videos on YouTube by Dave Ponescu. You could also incorporate something like a podcast. The Learner Lab has put out many great podcasts about the growth mindset, and you could have your students listen to one of those. So, as I mentioned, I have YouTube links to these TED Talks on my Mindsets page on my website, as well as a link to a YouTube playlist of other mindset related videos. After the video, what can we do? My preference is to have an in-class discussion with students to share what they have learned. This can be really powerful to have students sharing what they learned from the video and have a nice open class discussion about that. Now, that discussion is not going to take a lot of time, but if you feel that you don't want to do that in class, something I'd suggest is considering having your students share what they've learned by making a Flipgrid video where they highlight a couple of key points from the video for you. Finally, you can also have students write a summary of what they learned and post it to a discussion board or submit it to you. Now, these are really in my order of preference from the most involved, most connected to the least connected, but you need to do what works for you in your classes. My second tip involves giving your students prompts to help them explore the growth mindset. I love to give prompts to my students, and here are some examples of 4 that I've used in class before. Give an example in detail of an area in which you once had low ability but now perform well. List a mistake you made that taught you something. List a skill that you picked up that required a lot of practice. Tell me about a person that you saw learn how to do something you never thought that person could do. The first is an example that really relates to math, how students are able to overcome difficulties in other areas of their life, and you can talk about how they can do that in mathematics as well. Learning from mistakes is a key tenet of the growth mindset. Understanding that math will take a lot of practice and effort, like the skill that they picked up, is important. And finally, sometimes it's easier for students to talk about things that other people have done, looking at them rather than themselves. The same strategies that I mentioned for the video responses would work here. I prefer the in-class discussion. Again, I think it's better to create a sense of community with your students, talking about some of their success stories, things they've seen other people do. But the Flipgrid or written summaries would work as well. I would say that you should share your story before asking students to contribute to the discussion. Students are more likely to be open and share their responses if they see that you can do the same thing. And it creates a really comfortable classroom environment when you do that. I'd like to talk about how I took ballroom dance classes or something like that where I really struggled and it turned out to be really rewarding and really fun. Also, it's a great way to model the growth mindset for your students. If we just tell our students they need to have a growth mindset, that's not as powerful as us modeling that for them and showing that you have gone through the same things in other areas of your life as well is important. My third and final tip involves having your students take a mindset assessment. A mindset assessment is a series of questions that will help your students determine whether they have a fixed or growth mindset in general. Carol Dweck has an assessment on her website, and I have a link to that assessment on my website. The mindset assessment is really powerful because sometimes it's hard for us to see when we have a fixed mindset, and this can be a gentle nudge towards realizing where you are in that continuum. Depending on your students and their comfort level with you and their classmates, this could be discussed with the entire class. However, it may work better for a one-on-one discussion or a small group discussion or a simple short paragraph about whether the student feels the results were expected or surprising and what they plan to do going forward based on that information. So, to wrap this up, I hope that you found this useful and an easy way to introduce the growth mindset to your students. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear those as well. Here's my contact information. My email address is georgew@cos.edu. My Twitter handle is @GeorgeWoodbury. My website, georgewoodbury.com. And as I mentioned, that's where you can find the Mindsets page by clicking on Mindsets on the left-hand menu. I hope this is helpful for you, and I look forward to hearing from you in the future. Take care.